So when I was doing the WHD load demo a few months ago, someone in the crowd had asked about a front end for WHD load, and I never really thought about it, but it's common with other gaming platforms or systems. Like I think of MAME for the arcade machines. There's lots of front ends for those where it lists out all your games, lets you really easy to find stuff. So when I got done with that demo at home, I did a little hunting, and there's a couple of front ends for WHD load, and iGame seems to be a pretty popular one. So I went through the installation, and kind of like WHD load, I didn't really find any written docs on the install process, so I made some for us to have if you're interested in installing it. And I installed it on the emulation like I did before. So I don't know if we really want to go through the step-by-step install again on this. Like I did with WHD load, the iGame software itself requires the Magic User Interface, and I think most people are familiar with that. And I had to get that and license it, which was exciting when I contacted him. He says, "Oh, my Amiga 3000 that does the license keys is broke, so here's a loaner key. I'll get back to you later."
I got that same story 2 years ago. I know.
So apparently that's a tough fix on that Amiga 3000. So you put that in there, and then it wants a couple of supplemental libraries. This GUI GFX.
You have to have a licensed MUI to run this?
Yes
Well,
and no.
I'm planning on running it. Yeah, I'm planning on putting this on my 4000 and running it in perpetuity. So I wanted to have it licensed. MUI.
MUI.
You know there's the user version, which and the registered version.
Yeah, he's talking about, he was having trouble registering. That's
Yeah.
why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Well, and when I ran iGame without registering MUI, it came up and said, "Oh, you're not registered for MUI. You can't run this application." So
Okay. You can still register MUI.
I did.
At a particular. Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I got it up and running, and then it wants this GUI GFX MCC file and this text editor MCC file to be installed as well. And I've got the details on that in here as well. Most of this document, I believe, is going through the MUI install that most people have already gone through. The first 14 pages is the screen prints of that.
This is a great printout. Thanks. Laser printer?
Yeah.
Nothing's left.
So once you get the prerequisites installed, the iGame install is really just copy it somewhere on your system. So I chose to copy it in my Workbench folder. I put an iGame folder in my Workbench folder, and then I went to the program and used the leave out command to put the iGame icon on my desktop so it's easy to get to. On my WHD image, I do have a games folder, but I thought putting the iGame in the games folder might be cumbersome in the future, because when you get 20, 50, hundreds of games in there, and then you go to look for the iGame folder to mess with something, upgrade, change, whatever, it might be a little more cumbersome than just having it in the Workbench folder. But you can put it wherever you're most comfortable with. So let's. So just like a cooking show, I can pull up the completed install here. Go big or go home. So in this little image, I've got my games folder where I've got a WHD load game, and I've got another game the game's Eye of the Beholder 2, and that one was actually one that you could just, from the factory, you could do and install a hard drive. So I've got them both in there. And then the iGame logo's out here on my desktop, so I can get to it real quick. The WHD load volume over there is just my scratch volume with all the installers and all the stuff that I mount on there to make it easy to get to put stuff together.
Okay, question. Why do you leave the background window open?
That's how it has.
Did you know you can, you're in a window here, but
Right.
you can actually make the workbench the window so that all this appears on the workbench by going up to your first menu, right menu button on the left side, and getting down, coming and release on the backdrop. And now you don't have a backdrop. In other words, the icons show up on the workbench itself. It's supposed to be a window on the workbench.
Oh.
Had you closed that, had you taken that previous window, you go back,
Yeah.
do the window, do the thing again, backdrop.
And uncheck
There they
it.
go. Now you can close this window. You'll notice how the icons are. So you have your workbench and your window, and then your workbench window, and then your icons on your workbench window.
Right.
This is just cleaner. Like since you want to get all the way down to where you can just click on these guys, you can leave the workbench, the backdrop off, and you
Okay.
never have to worry about flipping between screens.
Oh, okay. Thanks. I never knew that.
Now you do.
It's one of those things.
So then here's iGame,
You
and
have to fix your palette.
it will.
What palette are you in? Four colors or 8 colors?
I think I'm in.
Four
Four,
colors.
four.
I was on 16.
I see 5.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not where it is. Go to screen.
Screen mode?
Screen. Oh yeah, you're in 16 colors. Go to 8 or 4. Try 8 first. Yeah, it's gonna fuss with all your game, all your other
Yeah.
openings.
We'll fix that later.
Yeah, we'll fix that. I mean,
So you've got the iGame menu here, and it has on the side here show all favorites, which right now I don't have any marked favorite. The last played, most played, the never played. And the reason the bar still came up as never played is when I'll tell you when I get to the scanning. There's a little thing you got to be aware of in here when you go to scan for games. But it also will bring up by genres up here, which I don't have so many games in here, so it's not.
it's not sorting them because you don't have
Not
to
yet.
sort.
Yeah, I don't have any of those types of games in here. So we'll go back to the show all. When you first load this up, you have nothing up there, and you have to set up a repository and look for games. So in the settings menu, you've got a games repositories, and basically you just add the folder, volume, whatever that has the games you want to have in there. You can set up multiples. Well, mine, I've just got the one games volume there, so I just put that in there, and then it knows that's where you want to look for games. So then after that's set up, you just do the action scan repositories, and it will pull stuff up.
It's just searching the
Which-
drawer you picked. and putting it down.
Yeah, which is interesting because the last time I did this, it didn't drop the non-WHD load game. You left that in there, so that's an interesting feature I just found out. But basically, this knows to look for the WHD load games, and if you have 1,000 in there, it'll pull them all in. And they do warn you on their side, say if you do have 1,000 games in there, start the scan, go make some coffee. It's going to be a while. The other thing I found, and maybe it's because I deleted it, or maybe, let's see here, if you go to a game and go to the properties, it will tell you where it found it, games, marks, tell, and it's looking, when you do the WHD load, it puts these .slave files out there, and I'm pretty sure that's what it's scanning for, is folders with that in there. And here's where you can hit that favorite mark too. So that's kind of a manual thing. Manually hit favorites, then do that favorite in the menu. That'll show those up there. If you go to actions, the second option is add a non-WHD load game. And this is where you can manually hunt down.
you looking for the slave designation?
This one is a non-WHD game.
So you're just looking
So
for
you're looking
your
for the program itself. And I did find, at first when I didn't know what I was doing, I just pointed to the folder thinking they could find the program, and that was a mistake. And every time I'd click on it, it would just crash the system. It was not happy at all.
He was looking for the executable.
Yeah, and the drawer's not executable, and it made me pay for that. So then once you throw it up there, then that shows up on your list. So that's pretty much, kind of a whirlwind how to get it installed. And it's nice because then instead of clicking into my games folder and hunting through, hundreds of drawers or what have you, it's real there. So you can tell your sort options, you can tag your favorites. So it really makes it quick and easy for the game. And really, since you can add any program to it, you could put any other program in there, I'm sure. So if you wanted to put, Deluxe Paint or things like that are not in WHD Load or.
It's another front end that helps you find it.
Right. Yeah. I saw a different front end to this. It was kind of nice, same kind of concept. And the guy that was showing it off had two copies of the front end, one for his games and one for demos. So I had downloaded a lot of the demos from the demo scene and get to them real quick through that same interface as well.
That makes it sound like you basically have multiple databases with each front end.
Yeah. Yeah.
The database for demos, the database for games, database for productivity files, but
Right.
it's still all called iGame.
Yeah.
So launch one and see what it looks like.
I think it was March the last time, so I had a little older.
Really nice.
Very nice.
Yep.
SSI, yes. They were around before the computer.
They've been around for a while.
Oh, a long while.
Oh, yeah.
That's Dungeons and Dragons. That's been around for a while.
It's been around for a
Yep.
very long time.
There we go.
Very nice.
So, that's interesting. It's played with my color palette all of a sudden.
Yep, yeah, change the palettes.
It changed the image.
The image
Yeah.
from color to black and white.
Well, no, but you can change the image from the game.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the whole workbench is
The whole workbench went to black and white.
Yeah.
And that too, it changed the color palette.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. So that's it for the iGames portion of the show. Any questions on that one?
I thought you were going to give us 1,000.
Any idea if it runs in OS4?
I don't know.
Let's try it out. Find out. Looks like a cool little front end.
I mean, it's a.
That's the
it's
other
a
thing, by the way,
nice
OS4
interface.
includes MUI.
Right. So it seems like it should work.
Yeah.
I mean, just off the top of my head, the only thing that I think might be a problem is if any of these libraries that it needs, if they're too new and there's an incompatibility that the iGame people haven't caught up with, maybe there could be a glitch in
If they ran the libraries well, they'll run. If they do things like go after the chipsets, then it's another issue.
Right.
Jerry, 3.5 runs MUI real well.
Good.
So that can be going from the past.
Well, actually, I think
all the way
it
up.
comes with the user release of MUI.
Okay.
3.5 and 3.9 had MUI 3.8 user version, and then you bought your registration, you just put your number in, and it would let you. The real difference between the registration number and the user just clean one is that it lets you manipulate all the menus, so you can change everything in MUI or program it as well.
It's a developer release, basically.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm surprised I had to register for iGame to work. I just could not get iGame to come up with it unregistered.
Well, now that I know about it, I'll try it and let you know on a registered and unregistered version.
Okay.
Just look it up on the internet and see which is better.
So, and of course, anyone that wants to try this at home, if you go through my instructions and see something ambiguous or incorrect, let me know and I'll update the docs.
Yeah.
Ready to pause it so
Because I
you set
know
this next.
a lot of the guys from the Commodore 64